Your financial questions answered by the best local business professionals. Only here on the Money Matters Radio Network. Call in with your questions at 888-205-2263 or send us instant feedback on moneymattersboston.com.
All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome to Money Matters. I'm Joe Mangiacotti with Bill Murphy. Every Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 2 o'clock, we join you for this edition. Bill is in from, of course, Fairway Mortgage of New England. Good afternoon, Bill.
Good afternoon, Joe. How are you today?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Quick look at the market. Dow is down 101 points at 11,042. NASDAQ down 23.5 at 2457. S&P down almost 10. At 1174. Gold is down $30 at $1,341 an ounce. So that's what's going on Wall Street. In the red. Not wonderful.
No, but the mortgage market turned around a little bit.
Talk about that. The 10-year bond still under 2.5.
Yeah, and the mortgage-backed securities just finally went green on us. They were in the red for a little while, actually all day, and they just turned positive for us, which means rates should be flat today. They rallied yesterday, so that's good news.
So did they tick up yesterday, or did you?
No, it went down.
Went down yesterday.
It went down.
Doing good. Do we want to run through some ballparks of 30, 15, 20, and 10?
Yeah, your 30 years probably ticking down below 4.25, and 15 still around 3 3/4, right around there, and 10 years still around there as well. 3 3/4, 3.625. Pretty amazing.
3.2. That's like free money.
I mean, you got 5 years, or around 3. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was on doing a Money Matters show the other day, talking, and I don't know whether it was I think it was Rob Mitchell or one of the co-hosts from Money Matters, and when I started selling real estate in 1984, we had people that had interest rates 4 times today's rate.
Yeah.
16, 17%.
Yes.
From the late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
Do you imagine that?
And the foreclosure market's worse now than it ever has been.
Well, the foreclosure debacle, I've been saying for the last week or so, tip of the iceberg. In the papers this morning, Bill, we're looking at foreclosures getting back on track in the next week. I mean, Bank of America going to put 100,000 foreclosures back into motion. Do
we take the hit now, or do we take it later?
Well, I think we should take it now.
Right.
I just think we should take it now. Let's take it now. Get it over with. Why are you slowly pulling the Band-Aid off?
What would that do to prices? It's going to bring it down.
Of course it's going to bring it down, but it's going to bring them down over a long time. Plus you have, I think, the compounded problem of people on the sideline knowing that the shadow of inventory is out there, and they're not moving with interest rates at a 50-year low. I mean, lowest they've ever been in our lifetime. Inventory's plentiful and prices already low. Why aren't they buying? I think they're buying because they know.
Well, they're not buying because they're fearful.
Right, they're fearful. But they know that if they buy something now and we keep leaking out the shadow inventory, that prices are going to continue to drop. If we just get to the bottom, we can heal. We can go up.
I agree to some extent, Joe. I just believe that the unemployment still has to come back. Yeah. The jobless recovery. I think it's that excuse is kind of played out. You need jobs. As the jobs go, so does the housing market, and it's traditionally been that way. Going all the way. I mean, this is the worst recession since the Great Depression, and look where the housing market was back then. Statistically, it was pretty poor. So, in other words, you got to get that job, that unemployment. You got to get job growth going in order to, I believe, get the housing market. I mean, the Fed's going to go ahead and QE2. They're going to do quantitative easing again. It looks like if they buy up treasuries and bonds and mortgage-backed securities. We could see rates, 30-year fixed rates below 4%. I mean,
yeah,
is it what's enough? I mean, 6% was your rate a couple years ago. What's enough to get people moving? I think it's confidence, and I think it's jobs.
Confidence, big time.
It's confidence. We're working in fear.
All right. You're listening to Money Matters, and this edition, to 2 o'clock hour every Tuesday. Bill Murphy from Fairway Mortgage of New England joined us in studio to talk a little mortgages. In the latter part of the hour, we do kind of slide into Compass Toward Success show, which is rebroadcast on TV3 Charter throughout Worcester County. You can join us live via the telephone at 888-205-2263, toll free, so feel free, 888-205-2263. But you can also join us online if you'd like to watch us live on web TV now at moneymattersboston.com. So check it out there, and a lot of people who listen online just can click on and also peek into the studio at the same time.
Peek in.
Peek in. Well, just wait for us on TV3 Charter, which is about 10 times a week, I think it works out to be.
Something like that. Joe, we got a great show on Compass coming up at the bottom of the hour. Compass, we're gonna talk about the tipping point, Joe. You know, where it's like a pendulum. You know, if you're 51% one way or the other, we're going to talk about positivity and negativity and attitude with the tipping point. We're going to get into picking up properties now and why and how it's easier to buy foreclosures. It's part of building wealth. Mm-hmm. It's not as hard as it was a couple years ago. The banks have kind of streamlined the process as they had to. And 5 reasons to sell your house now. This last quarter of 2010, we're going to get into all that on the Compass program.
Well, we should probably talk because we'll be at, you and I will be at an open house Sunday. And that will be part of that will be on Compass in a future show.
It'll be live broadcast.
So, yeah.
Live broadcast Sunday, 11 to 12.
Yeah. On Compass?
No. You're live broadcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and we want people to look for that in future Compass Toward Success shows because we'll be talking about that. But point is, we're going to be at an open house, an actual open house Sunday, and we'll have some of the other experts in the real estate business coming through. One of the appraisers.
Home inspector, real estate agent.
Which is an important part of the purchase process. I don't think we delve into that too often, though. From the mortgage, but I mean it is so important because it's kind of an owner's manual. You're having somebody kind of kick the tires and check the oil,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
We have a feature home in Charlton, beautiful feature home.
Yeah. Do you have the statue? We'll get that later, and let people know if they want to stop by the open house.
We can. We'll give it out. We'll feature it. We'll feature the home if you want directions or take a look at it online. I'll put it on my website.
Yeah, probably link it on Compass.
Yeah, we'll put it on the Compass Toward Success website. Yeah. It's a feature home in Charlton. I think it's just under $400,000. And for all the Boston listeners, I mean, if you were to buy out in the area out here, this house would be
pick that house up and put it in Newton.
Yeah, pick it up and deliver it, and you're gonna look at $1 million house out here for just under $400,000. In my opinion, it's a steal, and the school system's great out that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, your kids are in Charlton school system? Yeah. And Cam plays, is that Charlton school or is it a league?
My son, he's in a private school in Worcester. The girls are in the Charlton school system, which is a pretty good school system.
Yeah. Yeah. So where does Cam usually play most of his sports? In Charlton, or is Charlton
baseball?
Town plays?
Baseball is in Charlton. Yeah. He plays hockey in Auburn, Marlborough, Westboro.
Yeah. Yeah, you do a lot of travel with the ball.
That's a hockey parent.
Yeah.
We had a 6 a.m. game on Saturday. They actually have
so you're up at 4?
They have we're up at 4. They have a Friday game. All the states are coming in New York and Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island. They're all coming up for the Marlboro tournament this weekend. It's called the Haunted Shootout. So, but we have games on Friday. We've got to pull the kids out of school if we want to do that. So I told my son if he gets 90 or better on all his tests this week, he can miss a little bit of school.
How's he go? It's only Tuesday.
Yeah, he got his first test was a 90, so 90
motivation.
Yeah,
Carrot and stick.
Should have said 95. Should have said 95.
Yeah, he's all right. He's a good kid. That's good. He loves his sports, so. Right.
If I'll probably bend on an 85, but that's probably as low as I'll go.
Yeah.
If I'm in a good mood.
Well, how many days you could have 3 or 4? I mean, if he has 75% at 90, tests, maybe get a 95, and it averages that 85 out. You
got it.
He's going to do the math.
You got it.
He's been around you long enough. He'll start figuring this out.
We'll see.
888-205-2263, toll free. So feel free if you'd like to join us here on this afternoon edition of Money Matters. Bill Murphy, myself, Joe Mangiacotti, every Tuesday from 1 to 2. We do come your way. In the latter part of the show, we switch our attention to Compass Toward Success. Now, that can also be found on the World Wide Web. at Compass Toward Success. It can be seen on TV3 Charter throughout Worcester County, usually in the afternoon, or I think it's 2 o'clock in the weekdays and 1 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday, if you want to check it out. And we film it right here at the Money Matters Radio Network studios. And, of course, you can also join us on the web and watch the taping of and the making of Compass Toward Success on the web TV at Money Matters. So that's moneymattersboston.com. moneymattersboston.com. You can also chat, by the way. You can send in kind of a chat immediate response or communication if you want. So feel free to do that. Again, go to moneymattersboston.com. And, of course, you can check out Bill Murphy at fairwaymortgagene.com as well. Stick with us here on the Money Matters Radio Network.
Over the last 2 years, we have lived through some very dramatic economic times. If this has left you wondering and worrying about your retirement, you're not alone. I'm Eric Spint, financial advisor at Strategic Financial Partners. My team has over 30 years of experience helping people address a full range of financial issues, including how to make your money last throughout retirement. For a free consultation or an invitation to one of our client workshops, please call me at 781-788-4671. Don't waste another minute worrying about your financial future. Call Eric Spint at 781-788-4671.
Eric Spint is a registered representative of New England Securities, securities and investment advisory services offered by NES, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. Branch office 800 South Street, Suite 505, Waltham, Mass. 02453. Strategic Financial Partners is a separate entity of NES. Log on to MoneyMattersBoston.com to find a Money Matters Radio Network affiliate near you.
Your lawn, destroyed by insects above ground and below. Their advanced complete insect killer protects against both in one easy step. Other leading brands stop at the surface, allowing damage to continue, but Complete's exclusive two-way formula kills insects above ground while it penetrates below ground to control root-destroying pests for up to 3 months. That's the beauty of better science. Bear Advanced. Better science, better results. BearAdvanced.com.
This is Tom Tour of the Money Matters Show. In the time that I have spent on Money Matters talking with folks about estate planning and elder law issues, one thing I have learned: it is not an easy subject for people to talk about. That is why I have been more than happy to answer your questions on the show and advise you about how to get started dealing with elder law issues, estate planning, and the protection of your assets. Unfortunately, on a radio show, I only have a few minutes to give you a brief overview of what you need to do. To properly answer all your questions, you will need more time. I invite you to schedule a private and confidential meeting. I can answer all your questions, and together we can develop a strategy to properly plan for the future and protect your assets. To arrange a meeting, call toll-free 1-877-774-9455. That's 1-877-774-9455. I look forward to meeting with you.
Call Tom Tour at 877-774-9455. That's 877-774-9455.
Tired of replacing expensive inkjet printer cartridges? Maybe it's time you replaced the printer you put them in instead. Switch to a Kodak printer and stop overpaying for ink. With other inkjet printers, the way to save money on ink is to print less. But Kodak printers only use fairly priced ink. Get a new Kodak printer today at Best Buy and join the thousands who've stopped overpaying for ink. Find out how much you overpay for ink at printandprosper.com.
Keeping an eye on your wallet is what we do best, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network. Send the Money Matters team instant feedback at moneymattersboston.com or call in with your questions at 888-205-2263.
Okay, folks, welcome back to Money Matters, Money Matters Afternoon Edition. I'm Joe Mangiacotti, along with Bill Murphy here in the studios, as he is every Tuesday from 1 to 2. He joins us from Fairway Mortgage, New England. Check it out on the World Wide Web, fairwaymortgagene.com. And we're going to talk a little stats and go over some numbers and roll some stuff out there. I mean, sometimes, we're really kind of we're overwhelmed with economic data and financial data, but when we go over stats, we kind of also talk about what they mean and where they're coming from, so that they're easier to digest that way.
Yeah, Joe, some interesting stats in the housing market and the housing market indicators. Last year in 2009, the month's supply of homes, so that's your inventory. Now this is a national statistic, was 7.8% months. 7.8 months of supply. This year, in August 2010, it's gone up a whole month, so it's over eight and a half months roughly, closer to 9 months of new homes. Now the existing inventory, so new homes that were going on now, is about 8.5. Existing homes that have already been on. Now this is really the number you got to pay attention to. Last year at this time was 9 months. Now you're looking at, no, this is nationally, 11.5 months of existing inventory. So it's pretty
and again,
pretty high.
That's not including the shadow inventory at all. There's another. How much? What's an estimate of shadow inventory? Houses that are sitting out there, owned by banks, ready to go on the market, but aren't on the market.
Well, the inventory that hasn't been released. Of course, that's not on the market.
Right. But what's sitting?
Well, what's the real number? I mean, how homes are going into foreclosure every single day.
Yeah.
So what is it? What do we? Defaults 1 out of 4.
Which
now?
is why a good reason to sell your house now before all that inventory is released.
We're going to get into that, and that's a great point. That's one of the top 5 reasons is to list your house at this point before it gets before
lost
that
in the
inventory
shuffle,
gets
man.
released and drop prices. Some of the other stats that I wanted to review. Joe, you remember last year when there was a huge refinance boom where rates were at this time?
Last year?
Last year in September, this time. Do you know where rates were?
I don't remember. Probably upper 5-6%.
They were in the 5s. They were in the low 5s. And today they're in the low 4s. And there was a refinance boom last year. Now let's take a look at the mortgage applications. Their mortgage applications are up from last year, even though there was a huge. Your purchases are down from where they were last year because of the tax credit. The refinance applications, believe it or not, are down. So the purchases are down from where they were last year because of the tax credit. And your refinance applications are down. The refinance applications was the index was 65.7. Right now you're at minus 3.9 from where it was last year.
Wow.
So the numbers are going down, even though rates are a point better, 1% better. It's kind of mind-boggling. So there's a lot of people out there that refinance that may want to consider refinancing again. And one of the strategies that we implement is no point, no closing costs, a true no closing cost loan. I mean, we offer that, no closing costs whatsoever. The no closing cost loan is when you roll in the costs. So, for example, if rate's going to be at 4 1/8, 4 1/4, you may take a rate of 4.375, pay zero costs. Now you're going to save $3,000. You're going to save $3,000 in closing costs. Now, the reason that you would do this is because you don't chase your own money, and it's basically a free loan. The only thing you would do is establish your escrows, which is your taxes and your insurance.
Which you already
you have to pay
which are
anyways,
gonna
and
come
you get that
anyway,
back.
Yeah.
So you get that back.
Yeah.
So one of the things you definitely want to ask about when you're looking for a mortgage, and we could certainly take a look at it. One of the things you want to ask about is, do you offer no closing costs? Now,
in a true no closing cost.
A true no closing cost, not rolled into the loan.
Right, and because you don't want to confuse true no closing costs with no upfront closing costs. There's the big difference.
Yeah.
Because it's either rolled in or they're at. I mean, think about it. You're going to end up amortizing your closing costs to say $3,000 over the length of the mortgage.
Right.
So what is that really going to cost you?
It's going to cost. It's going to cost you over the term. I mean, to recoup your costs, depending on your loan amount, depending on the rate, it could take 2-3 years to recoup your costs. Now, what happens if the shadow inventory comes on, the unemployment rate doesn't go down, the Fed buys up more mortgage-backed securities and treasuries and bonds? What's going to happen? Rates are going to go down.
Right.
So then
and
you might refinance.
You
might refinance. So when rates hit 1.5%, people are going to refinance again.
Yeah, 1.5%. That would.
If the unemployment rate doesn't change, is that really going to do anything for anybody?
Yeah, right. It goes back to if you don't have a job to pay the mortgage in the first place, you ain't qualifying for it.
And why are we still going into foreclosures?
Yeah. Yeah.
With the rates being modifications, the banks are now. If anyone out there is having issues, or of family and friends having issues out there paying their mortgage, the one thing you want to do is call the lender directly, speak with a supervisor, and ask them for a modification. You're going to have to fill out a hardship letter, and it doesn't necessarily mean intentionally be late on your mortgage. It means that you're having a hardship. It's either the credit cards, the food, or the mortgage. So if you're in one of those situations, call up your lender directly. Forget these third party, I want to say crooks in some cases, because they're going to charge you $2, $3, $4 grand to do this over a period of time. I wouldn't recommend that, because in most cases they're not able to do anything. You can do it yourself. You just call, you hang in there. You don't want to call first thing on a Monday morning. You want to call probably middle of the week and afternoon, whatever, and speak with a supervisor. You don't call late at night. You don't call early in the morning. You want to talk to a supervisor where they can maybe have a little bit more leeway to make those decisions, where they can instantly give you that modification.
Yeah. You make the point on Club Monday. I'm sure they're swamped on a Monday morning.
Oh, I get the phone calls on Monday.
Yeah, Mondays are tough
people,
for you. Yeah.
So, well, yeah, it's just it's too bad, because there's so many people we cannot help that I really.
Well, you get all those messages from the Compass Toward Success show. You have to get back to first on Monday morning over the weekend.
Yeah, some of those are censored. But at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday is censored. But in all being serious here, Joe, that we really want to encourage you, if you are in trouble or you have a loved one or a friend that's in trouble, call the lender directly, and you get that number off the statement, your mortgage statement, and don't be too prideful and not call. I see that a lot too. I'm embarrassed. I don't want to call. I'm 120 days late, and the real sad ones are when they can refinance and they let it go because they were too embarrassed to call to refinance, because they were afraid, because they were scared that they didn't have the money or they couldn't do it, with a lot of equity.
Yeah.
I mean, the banks don't want your house, people. I mean, they really don't.
No.
And a lot of people, why is the bank out to screw us? Why?
Yeah.
They don't want your house.
I have told people this for years, Bill. The banks are not in the landlord business. They don't want to be in the landlord business. They're in the lending money business, selling money. That's their business, and they don't want anything to do with your house other than the money.
Exactly.
That's it.
I haven't seen the recent stats, but I did know that I think it was last time I checked. Banks on the hook for they lose $40 grand per foreclosure.
Oh yeah.
$40,000. You think they want your house? No. Even if there's equity, they don't want your house.
No, it's a hassle. Equity's going to get eaten up in the foreclosure.
They have to pay a real estate agent.
They're going
to take a loss.
They're going to have to winterize the house. They're going to have to make sure if it's a bank, it's got to bring it up to a saleable condition. If there's an issue there's so much involved in it.
And people on the way out may not keep it clean.
They may not keep the copper pipes in it.
They may not keep the copper pipes.
Fixtures and
Joe, I've heard stories. I mean, one of the latest stories is it was a winter, so you can't keep all the water on. But in addition to keeping all the water on, I've heard people pouring cement down the toilet drains. Imagine what that does. It blows up your your pipes.
Roto-Rooter, Mr. Plumber there isn't going to clean that.
How do you get that? How do you get that?
You got to remove the pipes and put all new plumbing in.
It's not only removing the pipes, but you probably got to smash down the cement.
Yeah.
So there's people that do some serious unethical things. It's not the bank's fault. It's not anyone's fault that you can't pay the mortgage. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. You gotta take responsibility when you have a signed contract. And if you have a hardship, that's what I'm getting at, Joe. When you have a hardship, you gotta go back and you gotta deal with your lender. They will help you.
Yeah.
They will help you.
Yeah, they do. They want to move. It doesn't do the lender any good, folks, to have your mortgage on the non-performing side of that ledger. They want to move it to the performing side. If they can do it through a modification, which will allow them to do that and get it off that side of the ledger, because if it's on there, that's limiting the other end, how much money they have to lend out. It's a correlation. So they need to have your mortgage become a performing mortgage, and if they can do that with a modification, which is, it's not rewriting a mortgage, it's modifying it, but it's going to, in theory, allow it to become a performing mortgage, or if they allow a short sale even.
Right.
Either way, it gets off their books.
And if anyone needs any coaching, I mean, not really too sure what to say or how to deal with it if they're in trouble, just give us a call.
Yeah,
we'll take a look at it.
At the office. That way
also the no closing costs that we alluded to earlier. Give us a call in the office, 508-407-8300. That's 508 407-8300. Give us a call. We'll take a look at your situation. I can maybe, give you a coaching session on how to deal with, your lender directly. And also, if you are in a good situation, we'll take a look at the no closing cost loan, and I'll teach you how to, no hard feelings. Give me a call, shop around, and I'll teach you how to shop too.
Yeah.
I obviously.
What questions to ask?
Yeah, what questions
and
to ask?
But
sure.
not just what to ask, but what kind of answer you should get. I mean, you could give somebody a list of questions, Bill, but if they don't understand what answer they're looking for.
Yeah, we'll give you the answers that you should be looking for.
You know what I'm saying? It's great, but you want to understand what you're asking in the answer that should come back and what it means. That will help
Correct.
you make your decision.
Yeah.
So that's the way to do it. All right, very good. And, let's tease what's going to come up in the next half hour. We're going to look at Compass Toward Success. We're going to move into that after the break. The things we'll talk about there.
Joe, we're going to talk about on the Compass program today, we're going to talk about the tipping point, and it's the pendulum and how you can change the pendulum in your life, how you can change the pendulum, in creating wealth and life balance. And, your tipping point, you want to be 51% positive, and we're going to get into that. It's a pretty interesting concept. How to pick up properties now. We've mentioned a lot about the foreclosures, but now we're going to get into how we're going to pick it up, and if you are a buyer or a seller, why you should sell now. And you mentioned one of the things, Joe, why we should sell now is because there's a wave of foreclosures coming on that may drop your purchase price. So we're going to get into all those great things on Compass Toward Success coming up.
All right, very good. Folks, you can join us live, call in. Toll free, of course, 888-205-2263 if you're listening to the radio version of Compass Toward Success. You could be watching this on TV3 and Charter TV, Worcester County, but if you'd like to join us now on this Tuesday afternoon, 888-205-2263 on the Money Matters Radio Network.
Want to lower the cost of doing business? Keep your data safe and easily accessible. Barracuda Networks can help. The Barracuda Backup Service is the only data storage solution that combines on-site hardware for rapid restores and cloud-based storage for disaster recovery. At just 50 cents per gigabyte per month and advanced deduplication technology to significantly reduce storage space requirements, the Barracuda Backup Service is the most affordable and efficient data storage solution for any size business. Call 888-ANTI-SPAM for your free evaluation unit. 888-ANTI-SPAM or visit barracuda.com.
Yellowbook presents Quick, Make a Decision, now. We placed today's contestant, Bob, a small business owner, in a leaky boat and a tank with toxic chemicals.
Yeah, I'm sinking.
Bob, what's the best way to find customers for your business? A, hand out pens with your name on it, or B, advertise in Yellowbook?
This thing is really sinking.
Then make a decision now.
Yellowbook!
Right. Yellowbook can help your customers find you online, on their mobile, or in the book. When your business needs help, Yellowbook it. To advertise, call 1-800-YB-YELLOW or visit yellowbook.com today.
This is Joe Mangiacotti from MoneyMattersBoston.com with a very important announcement. At age 70 and a half, you are required to start taking money out of your IRA. Many people are confused because in 2009, we were all given a year off from required minimum distributions. It's 2010 now, and you need to know how much to withdraw. The amount you are required to take out of your IRA goes up each year, and your failure to take out required minimum distribution will result in a 50% tax penalty. We are offering a free educational report that shows you year by year how much you have to take out of your IRA. 781-433-0001. How much do you have to take out of an inheritance IRA? 781-433-0001. The rules associated with IRAs and required minimum distributions are complicated. Call now and learn all the rules associated with IRAs and required minimum distributions. 781-433-0001. This free report is available for a limited time. 781-433-0001.
This business is harder than anything I've ever done in my life.
Meet Kim Ema. She sells tasty desserts out of her treats truck all over Manhattan.
Managing cash flow is really important because things are always changing. Let's say I have a really big event coming up. I'm probably going to use my Visa Business credit card. And then there are weekly expenses where it just makes a lot of sense to use my Visa Business debit card.
Learn how Visa Business helps Kim manage cash flow in ways checks can't. Visit visa.com/gobiz. More small businesses go forward with Visa.
Weeds and crabgrass are taking over your lawn. Traditional lawn weed killers control either lawn weeds or crabgrass, but not both. Why do half the job when there's Bayer Advanced All-in-One Lawn Weed and Crabgrass Killer? It kills lawn weeds plus crabgrass without harming your lawn. Just hook to the hose and go. Nothing's faster or easier. And now it's rainproof in 1 hour. Bayer Advanced. Better science, better results. BayerAdvanced.com.
Those other guys putting you to sleep? Your energy boost is right here on Boston's best source for financial news and information, the Money Matters Radio Network.
Well, hello. Welcome to Compass Toward Success. I'm Bill Murphy alongside Joe Mangiacotti. Today, Joe, we have a great show coming up. Today, we're going to talk about the tipping point. What is the tipping point? The tipping point is when you have a pendulum and the pendulum swings one way or the other, and we're going to make sure that that pendulum is always geared towards the positive. So it's picture a seesaw, and you want that high level to be a positivity. So we're going to get into the tipping point and how that can really change.
So he doesn't want to be in the upswing side.
You want to be in the upswing, right? So we're going to get into that and how that can change, certain aspects of your life and balance. We're also, Joe, we were talking earlier and off camera here, how building wealth and picking up, foreclosures or having confidence to take advantage of where we're at in this market. Buying foreclosures are easier. And again, this is part of building wealth. And lastly, we're going to get into why now is super important to sell your house if you've been thinking about it, even going into the Christmas season. And we're going to get into 5 ways and why that's so important. We're going to get into all that today on Compass Toward Success.
Awesome. Sounds like a great show.
It does, doesn't it?
So tipping point, staying positive, why you should be selling your house now, 5 good reasons.
5 great reasons.
Let's see, you can come up with more than that.
Well, right now, in this last quarter of 2010.
Because you're always battling the negative news, and the negative aspects seem to get a lot of play.
Right.
The bad news, the bad news, the bad news. But there's always some good side to every situation.
There always is, and that's kind of nice segue. This is that you didn't even know we were really going to get into this, but this is a nice segue into the tipping point.
I guess.
Let's talk about it. Joe, we all know these people, the people that say, if it can go wrong, it'll happen to me.
Sure. Woe is me.
Woe is me. And can you believe this happened again? And the playing the victim. Well, guess where their energy is? Yeah. It's pretty negative, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So how about the people that always catch a break? Everything that can go their way goes their way. Now, that's what do you think? Are they really negative?
No, I think that sometimes that good attitude breeds good situations.
Right.
An opportunity.
Right.
And it's the glass half empty, half full thing.
Pessimists will bring that where
line.
You're victimized, and optimists will keep that going positively. So you want to always make that pendulum swing. Now, if it's on the downside and say that's negative, you're more than likely going to create negative forces to come back to you. Mm-hmm. So you're complaining. Your day's going bad. You're not in the right frame of mind. You lose focus. I mean, it's all relative.
How much energy gets expounded on negative?
If you're
negative
if
feelings,
you're
negative
angry
energy,
or you overreact or you're upset or frustrated or irritated.
Mm-hmm.
How could you feel positive, and how could something good start to happen to you when you're feeling that way? You have to shift your focus. I mean, take responsibility for everything that happens to you, in your life. I mean, if you are running into problems, building wealth, if you are spending too much, if take responsibility for what's going on. If you're running into trouble with your mortgage, figure out a way. And we mentioned this earlier. You want to call your lender directly and just express your hardship, but then take what you get and turn it into a different manner to take off into a positive. So say you get the break where you're gonna avoid foreclosure. Now use that as a stepping stone and not necessarily I'm still doomed.
Yeah.
This is just the Band-Aid.
I bought some time.
I bought some time before the inevitable happens. Use that to catapult your way out of that situation and bounce to the next level with you start to turn your fortunate everything that's fortunate in your life into more fortunate aspects of your life. Keep taking it to another level. But if you stay negative, negative things are just going to keep piling onto you. So that's kind of the tipping point on where
it's a slippery slope too, Bill. I mean, it's
you snowball.
If you get into that mentality,
you spiral out of control.
You spiral, and what are you doing? You're sitting in the dark drinking one afternoon.
Yeah,
I mean, where do you go?
There's 2 ways to handle any situation, right? Positive or negative.
Yeah.
Are you always neutral? I mean, if you're taking responsibility of everything that happens in your life, then you're more than likely to deal with it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're more than likely to deal with it better.
Absolutely.
If you lose your job,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do the things that can help you get a job. I mean, don't just send out a resume. Send out a resume and follow up. Tell everybody and anybody that I have these qualifications. I'm looking for a new job.
Well, I attend
word
a
of
lot
mouth.
Of these, yeah, I attend a lot of these because of the Money Matters Network and the fact that I do a financial show every day. I attend a lot of the business networking events, and we've talked about this on the air during the financial show. Bill is so often now at these networking events. There are people there who are no longer with the company, but marketing themselves. They're using the same network that they used to promote the business they worked for or their business to promote themselves and to stay plugged into that network, because no one's just going to come up to your house and knock on the door one day and say, just wondering if there's anyone in the house who wanted a job.
Right.
And it's not going to happen. So they're out there and they're using the same techniques as they did to promote their business that they worked for in that capacity, to now turn all that effort and attention and energy to themselves. And I'm like, that's the person that you're going to want to initially start to talk to, because they've been positive and they're taking action to move forward.
I'm going to give you a story, Joe. That's a very good story here, a happy story. Had a gentleman, a client of mine, who last year had lost his job, real high-end job. He was a software salesman, and he was, they were downsizing, or they were getting taken over and moving to another part of the country. I forget really what happened there, but he was a superstar salesman. And then, he wanted to maintain that salary. He didn't want to take anything. He was given other job offers. He ended up he said, what, I put away enough money for now. I can live for the next couple of years the way things are. He still wanted to live that life. He was just he put together this, he did a lot of charity work for cancer. But he said, during this time off, he said, something will happen. I'm still going to networking events. I'm still, call on my old contacts, my clients, whatever. But he started putting together, a charity fundraising for cancer. He ended up being one of the top fundraisers in the country for this. I think it was Live Strong, if I'm not mistaken. And lo and behold, one of the members that on his fundraising team or who heard about it ended up connecting him with the right person to get a job even better than the one he had, as far as more opportunity, more money. And he never worried about it. He didn't waver and says, this is my time to do the things that I want to do to help others. And this, the unfortunate disease that so many people come down with, this was his chance to make a difference.
Yeah.
And now if he was sitting back and woe is me and life stinks and I'm going to go through my savings, I mean, it might have been tough for him. He wouldn't have allowed himself the opportunity to get into that position where he is now.
Well, it was once said, success is when opportunity meets preparedness, and you're not going to come across too many opportunities, channel surfing at home, or checking Craigslist, or just simply feeling sorry for yourself. So, I mean, like I said earlier, you got to
create it.
They got to go and create the opportunity and stir it up and make sure that things are going to cross your path, and you're going to have that you're going to continue that networking, and whatever was making you successful in business and got you to where you were, you continue those principles and practices. Maybe you do have to learn a few more skills, and that's part of what we do with Compass Toward Success, is to talk about keeping positive, keeping doing the evaluations. We've done this in past shows. We've talked about doing those
self-checks,
your
self-checkups, your balance, your will, your life balance, and obviously working towards creating wealth, happiness.
Yeah, and our wheel.
The wheel of life.
The wheel of life. So I think we came up with 12 or 13
pieces
and last time.
You could have you could have a couple. You could have several. I mean, it's your wheel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't make it square.
A pie chart. Yeah, don't make it square. They'll be boxing yourself in.
Yeah. There you go. That's very good. It's funny.
All right.
But
this is Compass Toward Success, but we also do the show as a radio version of it on Tuesday afternoons. And if you're listening to the live radio version of it, you're welcome to join if you'd like to participate in the conversation.
Yeah, then you'll be your voice will be on TV.
There you go. Yeah, at least your voice. You may not want we're suckers for punishment. We put on our faces on the camera.
Oh, yeah.
You're okay with that. 888-205-2263. Toll free 888-205-2263. Reminding folks that you can check out the TV show Compass Toward Success at the webpage under the same name, Compass Toward Success. And of course, if they go to fairwaymortgagene.com,
yep,
they'll be able to link over to Compass. They'll be able to
yeah.
go to Facebook also check out everything.
Yeah, we got the Facebook page is facebook.com/Fairway New England. You don't have to put mortgage in there, just Fairway New England, and you could get some great tips, and we get some of the Compass tips that we talk about here in past shows.
All right. And look forward, look for segments in future shows, because we'll be taping some of Compass Toward Success from open house.
Right, we'll talk a little bit about our feature house of the month coming up on Compass Toward Success as well.
All that ahead right here on the Money Matters Radio Network.
Radio. It's only a little box with a cord and some knobs that tells us stories and sings us songs and gives us the score and warns of the storm. It's only a little box with a cord and some knobs that makes us wonder and cheer, kiss and cry, and sometimes dance and sometimes fight. It's only a little box filled with sockets and circuits that sits on the counter, that drives in a car, that flies to the sky, that hangs in the bar and asks who we are and what do we think, and who do we love, and why do we hate. It's only a little box with a cord and some knobs. To see all of the wondrous things about radio, go to radioheardhere.com.
Brought to you by the radio industry and this station to remind you that radio is heard here, radio is heard everywhere.
Sterling Financial is committed to creating and executing quick, appropriate investment plans that make sense to you. In fact, the most important asset Sterling Financial provides is personalized service, a way of making the investment process easy and enjoyable. To speak with Jonathan Price or any member of the Sterling Financial team, call 617-558-3213. That's 617-558-3213 or online at www.sterlingfg.com.
Reason number 48 to switch to Geico.
As much as you enjoy the experience, you won't have to go to the post office. We can automatically debit your checking account or even charge a premium to your credit card. It's easy and you never have to worry about mailing your car insurance premium again. But we must warn you, you won't get to use any postage stamps. I hear they're coming out with some pretty cool designs.
For a free rate quote, visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Tired of replacing expensive inkjet printer cartridges? Maybe it's time you replaced the printer you put them in instead. Switch to a Kodak printer and stop overpaying for ink. With other inkjet printers, the way to save money on ink is to print less. But Kodak printers only use fairly priced ink. Get a new Kodak printer today at Best Buy and join the thousands who've stopped overpaying for ink. Find out how much you overpay for ink at printandprosper.com.
Mark, someone is staring at me.
What, like making eyes at you?
Yeah, I guess.
Where? Over there?
Oh, behind you. He's sort of small, like a little stack of money, and he has these big eyes, like googly eyes. He's staring at me.
You sound like you're sort of enjoying this.
Well...
That's it. No, I'm looking.
Oh!
What, that? That's the money we could be saving with Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com.
Log on to MoneyMattersBoston.com to find a Money Matters Radio Network affiliate near you.
Welcome back to Compass Toward Success. I'm Bill Murphy with Joe Mangiacotti. Joe, we just covered what the tipping point was, and in summary, the tipping point is when you can, change that pendulum swing, and you want to tip it towards positivity. When you tip it towards positivity, you're going to allow more positive things to come into your life. And if it's negative, you're gonna start spiraling out of control and not taking responsibility for the things that happen to you, and it just leads to more doom and gloom.
Sure.
So when we use that, let's talk about our sellers today. Sellers are a little frustrated. So, Joe, we put to with the inventory, but here's the thing. There's some. I'm going to tip this point to the positivity. Joe, there's 5 reasons.
Well done, Bill. Well done.
That's what preparedness does for you, right?
There you go.
I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about 5 reasons why you want to sell in this market, believe it or not. Think about this, Joe. Entering this time of year and you're selling, what kind of buyers are you going to get? Serious buyers.
Oh, absolutely.
The holidays, I mean...
Well qualified for one.
Well, you have to be well qualified. Yeah. So you're going to get a pre-approved buyer. You're not going to get necessarily a tire kicker. Tire kickers do not come out in the last quarter during the holiday season. Once you get Halloween, it's all holiday prep. Your Thanksgiving, you got family coming in, you're going out, you're traveling, they're traveling. It's usually a mess with family and the reunions and all that fun stuff. It's when it's all the hugs and kisses and arguments all on the same day. You also have then your holiday shopping season. It's what is it, Black Friday, when it starts then, and a lot of times you're going to see this year, I bet, more holiday shopping prior to Thanksgiving. I believe it's later in the year. But so the consumer spending will go up. Yeah. It's been pretty down the last couple of years, and they're expecting it.
Yeah. Retail spending was down.
Possibly to tick up. So that's a good reason you're going to deal with a serious buyer if you're selling right now. So you may not have as many tire kickers. Another reason, if you're a move-up buyer, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, if you're buying a house and you're a move-up buyer today, think about this. If you have a $300,000 house and you discount it 20%, you're going to sell it for $240,000. Okay, so you take a $60,000 loss. But now you're moving up, Joe. So you're gonna buy a house for $400,000. That was worth at one time $400,000. You're gonna get it for $320,000. You just gained $20,000 by being a move-up buyer. Yeah. So a lot of people lose sight of that fact.
They forget that. Right.
You can't forget that. If you're moving up, you gotta sell. Mm-hmm. In addition to the rate that you're gonna get. Now, as we went over the rates earlier,
your purchase power is greater because the rate is so much lower than you probably went into the house.
Cash flow,
yeah,
that you can use for investments. Yeah. I mean, you could be, depending on what your rate is, you could be paying the same on $240,000 as you are $320,000. I mean, that's reality.
Well, someone in the 6 1/8 or 6 1/4% in the mortgage because they bought 3 years ago, to go to 4 1/8 or 4 1/4, it dropped 2 points. What's the purchase? What's the 2-point purchase power? Easily $80,000 increase in purchase power.
God, yeah. And that leads another great segue, Joe. That leads into the third reason is where interest rates are today. Rates are in the low 4s. You save so many thousands of dollars by purchasing today, as opposed to purchasing a couple years ago. And again, we're going to use 4 years ago. The monthly payment on a $300,000 house with 20% down was about, now believe this, Joe, about 6.5%, which was a payment of like $1,533. Now today, on that same house, your payment with 20% down on a 30-year fix is about 4 1/4. I mean, your payment's going to be on $213,000. Your payment's going to be $833. I mean, you're getting and the reason that I use the $213 is because we're discounting the houses where they were 4 years ago.
Sure.
With the rate, so that's a savings of where you would be at 4 years ago on the same house of $700. $700. Savings is $700. Yeah. Same house now discounted 4 years later, higher rate at 6.5, now down to 4 1/4. So you take those two, you take the house at discounted 20%, you take the rate 2.5% lower than it was, and there you go, or 2 1/4 lower than it was.
If you transfer this logic and math to the investor, you're actually able to purchase a piece of income property or a multi-unit and actually maybe have a positive cash flow, opposed to what so many people were settling for so long.
Right.
And that was just simply to break even. Or say, well, you know what? It's if I stay rented 100% of the time, it's only going to cost me $100 or so to keep this house. So I'll pay. That's a good investment. Okay, you get one month without a tenant or a difficult tenant, and you have to evict. That starts to snowball, and all of a sudden you're really behind the 8 ball. Now, if you have a positive cash flow of a few $100, $800 a month, and you have that for a while, and you're able to hold on to that cushion and hold on to that for those evictions, for those months, then this is a good time. Investors, I mean, talk about, at 2003 prices, at the interest rates we are today, you can actually have positive cash flow with a 20% down, 25% down on a piece of income property. And that wasn't going on 2.5, 3 years ago.
No. I mean, the houses in Worcester County where I'm from, the houses that were appraised at 300 are down below 200 now. I mean, they're positive cash flow. Before they weren't.
There's been, I've been familiar with a couple of refinances going on, one or two of them actually around the office, and appraisals have come in actually better than were anticipated and expected. One property in Metro West came in about almost $60,000 above what we thought, or he thought he figured.
That's
because
great.
It came in, and it's in a very nice town in Metro West. So
you don't hear that too often.
No. So again, the other thing is here in the greater Boston area, Massachusetts, we're taking a bad hit.
Yes.
Nowhere near as bad as some other parts of the country.
Oh, yeah.
You start looking at Nevada and Florida and in certain parts of the country, Southern California hit very, very bad. However, we didn't fall as hard and as far as some other parts of the country, and I think to a lot of degree, especially in the greater Boston Metro West area, we've stabilized.
Right. You talk about Metro West, and I want
out to Worcester. I'm talking that whole
Boston.
Yeah,
Metro West.
I'm talking west of 128
out
to Worcester. I consider Metro West.
Yeah, area. Sure. So that's what I wanted to also announce on Compass is we're going to do a show on a feature house on Compass, and we're going to broadcast that and rebroadcast it on Compass this Sunday. Listen for it and watch for it, and we're going to have a feature house of the month out in Charlton, just below $400,000. And this is a house in the Metro West area that would probably sell close to $1 million. You have to see this house; it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's almost flawless. So,
I've only seen the virtual tour. Of
yeah,
it,
it's beautiful.
It's a great taste. The owner has great taste.
If you want to catch it, we'll put it on Compass too later today, so you can get the address and come down for the open house it's in Charlton from 12 to 2 this Sunday. It'll be on CompassTowardsSuccess.com, and I'll also throw it on the Facebook page. It's Facebook.com Fairway New England. So come check out this feature house of the month on Compass Towards Success. We're going to have 8 real estate agent. We'll have a home inspector to show how tight and nice this house is, an appraiser to kind of give you his market value opinion. We'll have you there, Joe.
Yeah,
absolutely. What else can I say?
Yeah, it's going to be a time. We'll be
it's
going
to be a great time. Out with Joe. Okay, Joe. So we covered right now why you would sell a house. We went through three reasons why you would sell a house in this market. Number one, you want to enter. You're entering this time of year. If you're selling your house, the buyers are serious. You don't get tire kickers around the holiday season.
Yeah.
And we're entering that. If you're moving up, you'll save thousands of dollars over the course of the loan with the discounted prices where they're at and where mortgage rates are. And again, number three, where mortgage rates were as opposed to where they were a couple years ago, down in the low 4s. Now, here's another great reason. Number 4, you beat the rush of inventory that is coming on this next year. Now, when does everybody list? They don't list during the holiday season unless they have to get rid of it. Yeah. They list in January. Yep. When everything subsides, they list for the spring market.
Sure.
So now you're going to beat that wave of, we're not talking about foreclosures, the wave of listings and traditional sellers. Yeah. So that's why you also, number 4, you want to beat that wave of new houses coming on. And you're going to have less discounted inventory. Why are you going to have less discounted inventory? What did all the banks basically just announce the other day? They're going to halt foreclosures. I know some of them are going to come back on, but you'll have less discounted inventory before it comes on. Therefore, anyone that's buying in this it's all relative. Anyone buying in this time in this market will have they're going to be serious, so they're going to buy a house that's probably priced right. And they don't have to worry about the foreclosures as much. You're going to get the low rates. There's a lot of reasons why you would want to sell. It sounds counterintuitive with what's happening, but these are some of the reasons why you would want to sell. Because someone will say to me today, why would I want to sell? Yeah. And we'll talk about why you would want to sell. I mean, there's reasons why you wouldn't want to sell, but if it's right for you, you can make this work for you.
That's a key thing. If it's right for you,
it has to be right for you. There has to be a benefit.
There's a lot of benefits. The thing I think that we need to actually drive home there is that fact that if you're selling your home and you're doing the next purchase up, that next tier up, the percentage on the higher priced home is that much greater. That you aren't you are selling your house for less than it was worth a little while ago.
Right.
Maybe what you paid for it, maybe less than you paid for it.
Right.
But your purchase, it's on the other end. You have to keep that in mind.
Right.
You know, when I look at listings that are out there, and I'm looking at houses right now that that I could never have gotten at that price when I bought the current place I'm in. You know, I'm looking at that going, wow, if you know, hindsight, if you said, well, if I sat on all that cash for 3 years and waited to go out there and buy that, I could have bought $100,000 more worth of property, you know, than I did 3 years ago.
Right.
But you look at that and you got to remember that. So you take the hit, but it's percentages.
It is percentages, and you know, you take the tipping point, and when you're listing your house, you never want to say, my house is never going to sell, we're going into the Christmas season. You want to talk about saying, my house is going to sell. It's a beautiful house. It has a lot to offer. And be prepared. When your real estate agent gives you feedback, you know, you got to clean this up. You got to take down the family pictures. You have to, you know, landscape it. You have to present it in this way. You want to clean up the clutter. You don't want to avoid
paint that front door.
Paint the front door.
You know.
Change the smoke detectors or whatever. You got to listen to the professionals that are there to help you, and that'll also in turn, you know, when you're preparing and you're putting the energy into getting it sold, you're also, you know, being positive about that as opposed to not doing it. I mean, your house sells in a split second. As soon as someone walks in that door, that's the first impression.
Mm-hmm.
And if something's cluttered or something doesn't seem right, or you didn't listen to the professionals or the agents that told you to do certain things, when they walk in the door, you blow it.
Yep, absolutely.
So any feedback you can take, you know, you want to create that point that tips into that positive, you know, that positive energy that's gonna help you. I mean.
All right. Bill Murphy, Fairway Mortgage of New England. Check him out on fairwaymortgagene.com. I'm Joe Mangiacotti in the Money Matters Radio Network. Don't forget, check out Compass Toward Success for that listing, open house listing address for this Sunday. Have a great day, everyone.
ESO 970 AM Southbridge. It's Out with Joe and the Bernard Lee Poker Show, the Money Matters Radio Network.